Hey guys, and welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a book review on Niksen, Embracing the Dutch Art of Doing Nothing, which I have looked up this pronunciation about 20 times. I wanted to make sure I was pronouncing it correctly, Niksen, because it is a Dutch word, not a former US president. So first, I'm going to be talking about what the book is about, concept of it, and give a quick summary. Then I'm going to talk about why I chose to read the book, because they're not always super deep reasons. Sometimes I literally just like the art that's on the cover or the title and choose to read it that way. Then I'll go into, what I liked and what I didn't like, and if it's applicable for the book like it is for this one, I will go into if I'm going to incorporate it in my everyday life, which will not be applicable if it is a horror or murder mystery book, hopefully. So Niksen is a Dutch verb, again, Niksen, not nix on. It's a Dutch verb that means the practice of doing nothing as a means to relieve stress. So we're talking about going outside and just enjoying the breeze, or looking at the sunset, or looking at the sea, or just sitting there listening to music, not doing anything else. Does not mean going on your phone, does not mean scrolling, does not mean watching a YouTube video. Those are all doing something. Global burnout and stress at an all-time high, and especially stress from the pandemic, but really even before that. I thought this was an interesting concept to help people start to relax and find a way that they relax back. All right, so why did this book stick out to me? I actually was just browsing through Libby, which is the free book app where you can get magazines, books, audiobooks through your library card, and I was browsing through the self-help section of that to see if they had any books that I wanted to read, and I actually hadn't heard of this beforehand. Popped up and I thought the title was interesting. I was like, oh, The Dutch Art of Doing Nothing, what is that? And I was intrigued by it because my life is always very chaotic and very stressful, and with 2 kids and everything else that goes on, I am always crunched for time. I feel like sometimes your brain, it just needs some space to breathe, right? We're not meant to go all day long, which I am a very go person. Why did I like this book? First of all, I found it to be a very interesting read in general. A lot of self-help books that I've read, and in this category, they're very angry, or they're the exact opposite, where they're so passive and so like, oh, free love, like kind of hippie vibes. It's either one or the other, like a stock bro yelling at you, or someone who's probably was high the entire time they wrote it. So this was neither, which was super refreshing. It's actually the most realistic self-help book that I've ever read. There was a section in the book where she literally said, if you are depressed, this probably isn't the best thing for you to do because you need to focus on basically surviving. I have never heard a self-help book mention mental illness before, and I thought that was amazing that was in there, because it does make a difference. And the author is just empathetic, she's understanding, and that is exactly what needs to happen in a self-help book. It's a self-help book that's not telling you you need to change everything about your life because everything about you is wrong, and the only way to be content is to change everything about you because everything about you is wrong. And that was really, really refreshing. What I disliked about the book, as a chronically busy person myself that has a lot to do, I almost felt like I needed steps on how to learn to do nothing, because going from a super busy life to, okay, I'm gonna sit here and listen to music, when I haven't been able to do that in years and years and years, it just seemed unreachable and almost impossible. And there is a section on what Niksen is and how you can incorporate it, but I just didn't feel like I could walk away knowing how to do nothing. It sounds simple, but then when you sit down to go and do it, it feels really, really hard. It just kind of left a little bit more to be desired, and you'd have to go research more on how to do Niksen in your own life, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just had thought that within the how to Niksen section that there would have been more of that. But that's also just because I am a super busy person. Part of that section kind of focused on reframing how you can find little Niksen points in your life, which is more of, I think, what I needed to read because I am generally so busy. So focusing more on how to find those little pockets of time, I felt like focusing on that more in that section would have been more helpful personally to me. How it talks about how, when you're waiting for the bus or you're waiting to pick up your kids at school, how you can Niksen in those time versus reaching for your phone or reaching for something else to do or to think about. But also that's really hard to turn off your brain when you're sitting there and thinking and planning, because I know as myself, as a stay-at-home mom, when I have a couple seconds, I am literally just planning what needs to get done next. Some interesting tidbits in this book though, there were so many. I admittedly know nothing about Dutch culture, so it was really interesting to learn about it. The little tidbits about Poland and Polish culture were very interesting to me as well, because that is large-ish part of my family's ethnicity is Polish. There was a part of the book where she was talking about a Polish book that a Polish all-time favorite pastime is complaining because they consider whining a way to bond with others. I feel like that just described my entire life. That one sentence changed my entire life, because that is my life. I did not know that was a thing, but it's literally in my blood. It is literally a part of me. I have to complain. That's how my ancestors have bonded. And I also thought another interesting portion of the book was how, as technology gets more integrated with our everyday life, how it's going to be even more difficult to do Niksen. And the question that is technology always really a good thing? And do we really need to integrate it more in our everyday lives and automate even more things? You know, how's our everyday life going to look 5, 10, 20, 50 years from now? How much technology is really going to run our lives? Because the more technology gets into our everyday lives, the harder it is to sit there and do nothing, right? Even just think about your phone. 20 years ago when cell phones weren't really a thing, or especially not like how they are today with social media and apps and all of that, and how addicted most of us are, or really all of us are, to our phones. You weren't sitting there scrolling on your phone, you found something to do, or you were more content with listening to music, or how you used your phone really was for the purpose of doing something else with it, right? You were communicating with people. iPods that were sitting there to listen to music. Great, technology is not all bad, but how much is too much? So I thought that section was interesting, and also just kind of something to think about for your own life, because I've been reevaluating a lot of my phone use time. So will I try this? Because this is applicable to this book. Yes, I already have tried to do Niksen some, and it really does make you feel more relaxed. I personally don't even really realize when I'm reaching for my phone, which is in those few fleeting moments when, oh, I have 2 seconds while the kids are entertained. Oh, it's a little bit before bedtime. Let me scroll. Let me check this email, whatever. And it's made me think about when I'm reaching for my phone and why I'm actually reaching for it. Do I actually need to do something with my phone, or am I just trying to fill up the free time? These two really kind of have gone hand in hand nicely, which I don't think really is the point of the book, but that's kind of what I took away from it. How Niksen and doing nothing go along with using your phone less, and how both of these can kind of make you a more content and happier and less anxious person. So that kind of just in the space of my life now, it made sense. And I like, and for me, especially because just my personality, which, like the book said many times, Niksen is not for everybody, which is also why it's probably one of the best self-help books ever, because it literally from the gate said, this is not for everybody. It's been interesting to try to find different ways how I do Niksen and how I relax. For me, what's a lot of the times what's more relaxing is, because of Polish ancestors probably, is talking and complaining and, you know, talking things through and having a good nice long chat with a friend. And to me, that hanging out is more relaxing than just sitting there staring into the abyss at a sea or trying to listen to music. I feel like it's that relearning of how to do nothing and how to be more content with less things going on, which is really hard, especially if you're a super busy person. So it's that, and then finding something that you enjoy doing nothing with, rather that for you, if that's literally just sitting on the couch, or you want to listen to music, or maybe an idle task is what is relaxing for you. Maybe have you heard of this concept? Have you read this particular book? Let me know. I'm curious to see if you guys had a similar takeaway or a different takeaway than what I did, and make sure you are liking and subscribing to my channel. I will be incorporating more book reviews into my channel. Individual book reviews on self-help books where we can go a little bit more in depth. When I'm reviewing a fiction book, I'm going to be doing a couple of books at the same time, because then I feel like I would just give the spoiler away. So kind of a rating there for me. So I will see you guys next week.